Humanity finds itself cast into the deafening silence of the universe, a species condemned to the perpetual pursuit of meaning. In the mid-17th century, Blaise Pascal, in his seminal work Pensée, articulated a profound existential tremor. Le silence éternel de ces espaces infinis m'effraie. The eternal silence of these infinite spaces frightens me. Pascal's observation transcends mere psychological dread. It is a manifestation of an ontological void. Even before the full realization of modern cosmology, Pascal grasped the terrifying insignificance of the human condition within the vast, unheeding expanse of the cosmos. We are, as he famously noted, thinking reeds, fragile yet conscious, suspended between the infinitesimal and the infinite. This silence symbolizes more than a physical vacuum. It represents a metaphysical abandonment. From an anthropological perspective, human history can be viewed as a collective attempt to provide a symphony of answers to this primordial silence. We have historically transformed the chaotic noise of natural phenomena into divine utterances, and the cold, distant shimmer of the stars into a tapestry of celestial will. A silent universe is an indifferent one, and for a consciousness seeking purpose, such indifference is intolerable. In this video, we will examine the genesis of religions not merely as theological systems, but as monumental ontological defense mechanisms. We will explore how the quest for metaphysical security led humanity to construct an intricate no in response to the question, are we alone? From Pascal's dread to the existential anxieties of the modern era, we shall analyze the evolution of faith as a sanctuary of meaning in an otherwise indifferent reality. To understand the genesis of the metaphysical sanctuary, we must first look at the pragmatics of human survival. Anthropologically, religion emerges not in a vacuum of contemplation, but at the very limits of human agency. Bronisław Malinowski, one of the 20th century's most influential anthropologists, argued in his functionalist theory that religion and magic are invoked at the precise moment where technical knowledge and rational control fail. In his studies of the Trobriand Islanders, Malinowski observed a clear dichotomy. When fishing in the calm waters of the inner lagoon, where skill ensured a predictable outcome, there was no recourse to the supernatural. However, when venturing into the treacherous open sea, where danger was omnipresent and outcomes were beyond human mastery, a complex web of rituals and invocations emerged. This observation serves as a microcosm for the human condition at large. We are perpetually at sea in an environment governed by forces far greater than our collective intellect. The ontological insecurity, triggered by the unpredictability of death, catastrophe, and the elements, necessitates a symbolic framework that can domesticate the unknown. By anthropomorphizing the cosmos, attributing agency to the storm or intent to the drought, humanity transitions from a state of passive victimhood to one of active negotiation. Religion, in this sense, acts as a cultural stabilizer. It provides a lexicon of meaning that allows the individual and the collective to navigate the abyss of the contingent. Through the lens of Malinowski and subsequent functionalists, we see that the architecture of faith is built upon the stones of necessity. It is a vital psychological technology designed to manage the debilitating effects of existential anxiety. While anthropology explains the utility of belief, phenomenology seeks to describe the essence of the religious experience itself. To understand why the silence of the universe does not merely frighten us, but also inspires a profound sense of the holy, we must turn to the work of Rudolf Otto. In his landmark study, The Idea of the Holy, Das Heilige, Otto identifies a unique category of experience that he terms the Numinous. The Numinous is an encounter with a holy other, ganz andere, a reality that lies entirely outside the sphere of the usual, the intelligible, and the familiar. Otto characterizes this experience through the dual concept of the mysterium tremendum et fascinans. First, the mysterium tremendum represents the shuddering awe we feel in the presence of an overwhelming power. It is the recognition of our own creature feeling, the realization of our absolute insignificance and dependency in the face of the infinite. This is the raw, primal dread that Pascal felt. It is the feeling of being a mere speck of dust before a cosmic majesty that is both vast and indifferent. However, this dread is paradoxically coupled with the mysterium fascinans, a potent magnetic attraction. Despite the fear, the human spirit is irresistibly drawn to this mystery. It is here that terror is refined into awe, and void is transformed into plenitude. From this phenomenological perspective, the silence of the universe is not just an absence of sound, but a presence of a mystery so profound that it demands a response. We do not just inhabit the cosmos, we are haunted by its scale. Religion, then, becomes the formal language we use to articulate this shudder, an attempt to codify the overwhelming experience of the numinous into a structure that the human mind can withstand and eventually revere. To understand why the metaphysical sanctuary is so vital to the human psyche, we must address the fundamental discomfort of our existence. Martin Heidegger, in his magnum opus Being and Time, introduces the concept of Geworfenheit, or Thrownness. This term describes the ontological condition of finding ourselves already in a world we did not choose, a family we did not select, and a historical epoch we did not determine. We are thrown into existence without a manual or an inherent justification. This state of being generates a pervasive sense of Unheimlichkeit, a German term often translated as uncanniness, but which literally means unhome-likeness. We are in the world, yet we feel fundamentally not at home. The cosmic silence Pascal feared is the external echo of this internal alienation. It is precisely against this backdrop of thrownness that the religious impulse finds its most potent psychological motivation. If we are merely biological accidents thrown into a silent void, our existence is a tragedy of the highest order. However, if we can frame this thrownness as a mission, a test, or a destiny orchestrated by a transcendent will, the uncanniness of existence evaporates. In this context, the concept of a father figure, or a covenant, acts as a metaphysical anchor. It recontextualizes the thrown individual as an invited guest. Religion provides the home that the physical universe refuses to offer. By transforming the cold, indifferent laws of physics into the moral laws of a deity, humanity attempts to overcome its existential homelessness, seeking a sense of metaphysical security that offsets the sheer contingency of being alive. Despite the unprecedented advancements in our scientific understanding, the mapping of the human genome, and the observation of the earliest galaxies, the metaphysical hunger of our species remains largely unappeased. We have filled the silence of the heavens with the hum of satellites and the data streams of telescopes, yet the primordial dread that Pascal articulated centuries ago persists in the quiet corners of the modern mind. The tragedy of the human condition lies in this permanent tension. We are finite, temporal beings possessed of a mind that can conceive of the infinite and the eternal. Our anthropological need for security and our existential craving for a home are constantly confronted by the stark, silent reality of a universe that remains stubbornly indifferent to our narratives. Religion, as we have seen, is not merely a relic of a pre-scientific past, but a sophisticated response to the very structure of being. It is the bridge we build to cross the abyss of the unknown. Whether we view this bridge as a path to a higher truth or a monumental illusion, its existence testifies to the most defining trait of our species, our refusal to accept a world without meaning. In the end, we are the architects of our own sanctuary, seeking warmth in the cold light of an unanswering cosmos. The stars do not speak, and the void does not listen. Yet here we are, questioning, theorizing, and reaching out into the dark. Perhaps the true dignity of being human does not lie in finding a final answer, but in the courage to remain standing in the face of that silence without losing our curiosity. I appreciate you for joining me in this exploration of our shared isolation. Thank you for lending your time and your intellect to these reflections today. Orbit is not just a channel, It is a gathering of minds who find the questions more vital than the answers. If these thoughts have resonated with your own inner silence, I invite you to share your perspective below. Until our next orbit around these grand ideas, keep looking up and, more importantly, keep looking inward.